Okay, next up we have column multiplication. Okay, I mean, there's a bias, but in my opinion, the best form of multiplication. Love it. Now, I wouldn't say we're starting off with a nice one, but we're starting off with one digit times by two digits. Okay, nice. You know, we can process this nicely. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is we are going to times these two numbers together. Okay, so our question was 7 times 89. Okay, so I'm going to put my smaller number, or the shorter number, the one with the single digit up at the bottom and the double digit at the top. Okay, so I've got 7 times by 9. So first thing that I am going to do is change. No, actually, no, I'm going to keep this red. 7 times by 9 is 63. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write my 3 in here. Now, we're going to carry our 6 on. Okay, so I'm going to put my 6 just here, because that's going to be added onto our next one. The next thing that we're going to do is do 7 times by 8. Okay, now 7 times by 8 is 56, but we can't forget about this little guy here as well. Okay, so what we put in here next is really important. It needs to be 56 plus that additional 6 as well. Okay, we can't forget that. So we're going to end up with 62. So if I then just get rid of him, goodbye. Okay, I am going to put that 62 in here. And that is my answer. Okay, nice and short, succinct, quick way of doing multiplication. However, that is only with 2 digits and 1 digit. So I've got to answer there, but like I said, a nice one. Here, we're getting on to a little bit trickier. A little bit trickier. I'm going to move these guys up because I feel like I might need some space underneath for this one. Okay. So our question was 26 times by 43. Okay, now I'm not going to try and do that in my head, so I'm going to need to do column multiplication for it. Looking at this, we're going to start off in exactly the same way as we just did. Okay, so I'm going to go for my 3 times by 6. Okay, so 3 times by 6. Okay, I can do. We can do that. Okay, we can work through it. So 3 times by 6 is 18. Put my 8 there. Okay, I'm going to carry my 1. Now, you can put your 1 at the top. You can put it down there. It's kind of up to you. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go further down, because it can become confusing. We then got our 3, which we need to times by 2. Okay, so 3 times by 2 is 6, but we are going to end up with 7 because of this little dude here. Okay, so the first thing I've got there is 78. Now it's looking a little messy, admittedly. I apologize for that, but it's good so that you can see what I'm doing. We haven't gone near this dude yet, though. Number 4 is just chilling there. Okay, we've not done anything with him. Now, because number 4 is 10 times bigger than 3, so if I put my 10s up there and my 1s over here, it's 10 times bigger. Okay, so any answers that we get are also going to need to be 10 times bigger. So to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 0 there, because that means that anything that comes over here now is already made 10 times bigger by that 0. Okay. Now, first one I'm going to need to do is 4 times by 6. Okay, that is 24. I'm going to put my 4 there. Okay, again, you can carry your number in whatever way you please. Okay, so maybe my 2 there. And then I'm going to do 4 times by 2. However, we need to remember, again, that this guy needs to be added. Okay, so it's 4 times by 2, which is 8. But we need to add our 2 as well. So it's actually 10. So on the end then, we're not carrying anything over now. We've just got the number 10 to put on the end. Now, on the previous one, I put my carries in here. Okay, and that's fine because I'm not doing anything else underneath it. Okay, underneath there, we're not doing anything else. However, on this one, we do need to do something underneath it. Not sure that's moved down. Okay, we need to then add these two numbers up here. Okay, so these two here now need to be added up. So what I'm going to do is scribble these out, because otherwise these can become massive distractions and I start adding them as well, and I don't want to be doing that. Put my addition sign to show what I'm doing next. Okay, so here 8 adds 0 is 8. We've then got 4 adds 7, which is 11, so I'm going to put 1 there, and I'm going to carry my next one. Okay, we've got 0 now. Okay, and I'm adding this 1, so I've just carried it. So I'm going to end up with another 1 there. And finally, we've just got 1 in the last column, nothing being added to it, another 1. Okay, so my answer for that is 1,118. Looks a little bit more confusing. You've got the extra step of an addition in there, but actually it's quick, it's simple, it's easy, especially rather than having to draw out a grid method or a grid every time you do the grid method. Okay. Now, there is also an alternative way. For those of you who don't like the idea of having to times and carry numbers up here, okay, there is an alternative. Now, I like this way, but I do understand that, you know, giving people options is always nice. Okay, so this is then the alternative way that you can do it. Now, I've again chosen a random question. So we've got 239 times by 4 here. This time, rather than carrying, we're going to do 4 times 9. We're then going to do 4 times 30. Okay, we're going to go back to that idea of partitioning. Okay, so we've got our 1s, our 10s, and our 100s. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is 4 times by 9, or 9 times by 4. So we are going to end up with 36. Okay, and I'm going to write the whole number this time. I'm going to write the full number. The next one I'm going to do is 4 times by 30. Okay, that's really important. In fact, I'm going to write this next to it, okay, because this is key. So this is 4 times by 9. The next one down is going to be 4 times by 30. Okay, because this here is in the tens column. The next one is then going to be 4 times by 200. Okay, so it's broken down like this in this method. There we go. Okay, now 4 times by 30, we did it in a previous example on the grid method. Okay, so 4 times by 3 if you want to, or just do it. Okay, is 120. And then finally, you've then got 4 times by 200, which is then 800. Okay, we then draw a line underneath. We clearly, again, okay, we don't have our final answer yet. Okay, we still need to get to our final answer. So what we're going to do to get that is we are going to add them all up. Put my sign there just to show what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to have a 6 underneath. Okay, my 5 is going to go there because we're adding 3 and 2, and my 9 is going to go on the end. Okay, so our answer in total there is 956. Okay, now this does work as well for if you were to multiply by a 2-digit number. It just means that you end up having more numbers, more things to add on. Okay, so it works, it's fine, but this is essentially the grid method built into a column. So if we're progressing from the grid method into the column method, this might be a nice little in between, rather than throwing in carries straight away. But this as an alternative is quite nice if, you know, we're not quite ready there, or we want a different method to the column multiplication. Okay, hopefully that's helped. Obviously, go back to whichever method you want to use. Go back to one that might help you. The world is your oyster.